My name is Jesper Hatt. I'm a practicing dentist. I've been practicing dentistry for 15 years. In 2008, I started my journey with clear aligners. Now, whenever we do a clear aligner treatment, we always need to do some kind of IPR, interproximal reduction. In order to do that efficiently and predictably and precise in a way that follows the plan in the digital treatment plan, we need to utilize some instruments that give us the ability to actually do things precisely. I have tried all kinds of different stuff. Burrs, lab discs, metal discs. I've tried different reciprocating systems, hand strips, and none of them really felt good until I stumbled upon the tips from Dentatus. So here are the tips from Dentatus. Try to move down. These tips differ from a lot of other companies in several ways. First of all, the tips are calibrated. So these are actual numbers representing the actual amount of millimeters you will get when you use them. So starting with 0.1 millimeter, 0.2 millimeters, 0.3, 0.4, and 0.5, corresponding to the amount of IPR your aligner system dictates in the digital plan. This is the only system in the world that is calibrated, meaning that once I reach the amount of IPR that is marked here, I know that I have exactly that amount, so I don't need to measure. So if I use a measuring instrument between the teeth, I can demonstrate it with one of the tips. So let's say we have a measuring instrument, we put it between the teeth. Usually the instrument will push the teeth apart, so we don't really know, is this too tight, too loose, or is it as it should be? With this system, you avoid that, because when we use it and we reach the amount of IPR we need, then we have the exact amount. So let's say it's a 0.3 we reach. We start with a 0.1 millimeter. We put it into our handpiece. The handpiece has two different settings, a free flow setting and a fixed position where we can't move it. Please be aware that these tips are quite sturdy. So when you remove them, they will not bend like other products. They are actually, if you can see it here, they are quite sturdy. So they will not bend in any way. Now, if I use this tip, this is a 0.1 millimeter tip on my model, the tip will go back and forth and it will not move. And the movements are so small that even though I push the soft tissue, I cannot hurt neither the gingiva, the lips, or the tongue. So if I put the tip between the teeth, I simply move until I touch the gingiva, and then I remove it again. And now I have exactly 0.1 millimeters of space between the two premolars. Switching to 0.2 millimeter, and in this instance, let's just assume that we want to go to 0.3 millimeters. I use the 0.2 millimeter tip and move between the teeth like this. And I tend to move the tip a little bit back and forth just to make sure that I get all the way down. Now I have exactly 0.2 millimeters of space between the teeth. So we move up to the next size, and you will see a slight difference in the design. The two first tips have this support frame because 0.2 millimeters and 0.1 millimeter is very, very thin. So if we didn't have this support frame, everything would bend and break. Now, be aware that this is the part that should go between the teeth, not this part. So this is the part that goes between the teeth, like this, because that way you avoid the support frame. From 0.3 millimeters and up, I'll repeat that, from 0.3 millimeters and upwards, the design is slightly different, because now the metal is thick enough to support the entire tip. Put the tip into the handpiece. I lock it in because I prefer that with this model. And then again, move between the teeth. Very gently like this. And I go with a rather slow speed right now. The model here is a little tight. And now I have my 0.3 millimeters of space between the teeth. Easy and predictable, and I don't need to measure anything right now. So after switching to this system, I have experienced that my procedures were more predictable. I didn't need as many revisions. I no longer experienced posterior open bites because everything was predictable and followed the plan. Now I do realize that there's a lot that goes into clear aligner planning as well, but when it comes to IPR, this is definitely the best system on the market. Look out for Dentatus and the IPR tips.